Welcome to episode 2 of Disney Pins Around the World. In this series, I'm talking about Disney pin collecting and trading at all of the Disney parks around the world. If you missed the first episode, I talked about pins at Shanghai Disneyland, and in today's episode, we're going to talk about Hong Kong Disneyland. I am especially excited for this episode because Hong Kong Disneyland has the nicest, most shiny, most glittery pins that you'll find at any Disney park around the world. Hong Kong Disneyland must use a totally different pin manufacturer than any of the other Disney parks because the quality of all of the Hong Kong exclusive pins truly is superior to any that you'll find anywhere else. It's particularly become apparent with pins from the US parks over quite a number of years that the quality really is just going down. It's very rare to find a pin that actually has glossy enamel. It's almost always like scratchy and things are very dull. But the pins at Hong Kong really do have just such nice glossy enamel. Tons of them feature a lot of glitter, so they're very shiny. So Hong Kong really does have the superior pins. Hong Kong Disneyland is still a relatively new park, but they do have pretty much all of the different types of pin trading and pin collecting things that you'll find at the US parks. So with that, I'm talking about in terms of cast member pin trading, some hidden Mickey pins, which are a little bit different, open edition pins, mystery pins, limited edition releases, big pin events, monthly pin events. And while in my Shanghai video I mentioned that there's not really an established international pin community, especially with internet restrictions, with Hong Kong I find that there's a very wonderful online community. And so it's actually very easy to get access to Hong Kong pins if you live in the United States. Hong Kong Disneyland does have pin trading available with cast members, but as that is at pretty much all of the parks, a lot of the lanyards are kind of filled with junk. Hong Kong Disneyland does come out with hidden Mickey pins, but they do not necessarily do them in the conventional way. So what Hong Kong Disneyland has been doing for quite a number of months is that they have a pin trading magic moment for about 3 days a month. So during this pin trading magic moment, you have the opportunity to get a special edition hidden Mickey pin. I think it's only like a 2-hour window event each day. You have to queue up to be able to do it. And I believe you play some sort of game, and if you win, you get this special edition, which is almost kind of like a limited edition or limited release hidden Mickey pin. I'm not totally positive, but I think that they release a new set each month. So these hidden Mickey pins are very difficult to get a hold of because they're only available for a very short window, and you have to win whatever activity they're doing to get the pin. They also have hidden Mickey type pins available as game prize pins. So at their game marketplace, it's kind of your very standard carnival type games. And they have pins that you can get if you lose the game and if you win the game. Some of these pins are actually branded with the hidden Mickey logo on them, and others are just game pins. They've come out with quite a lot of different series for these, and so some of them are pretty easy to get because they're just the consolation prize for losing. But other ones you actually have to win the game to get. So those are much more rare and more difficult to obtain. Semi-recently, they have also been releasing these limited edition jumbo pins that you can win from these games. I think they're only about LE300, so you can generally get some cool pins by either playing and winning the games or playing and losing the game. Those pins will stick around for quite a number of weeks, and then they'll bring out a full new set with different themes. In terms of open edition pins, Hong Kong Disneyland does carry some shared releases, so these are the type of pins that you'll also find stocked in the US parks. You might also find them stocked in Shanghai, but it's the Hong Kong exclusive open editions that really are super gorgeous. They're the ones that have the really lovely high quality. They'll run the range of expected design, so they'll of course have some Hong Kong and Hong Kong Disneyland specific pins, pins geared towards attractions, the Fab 5 characters, and then of course Duffy and Friends is very big there, so they have a slew of Duffy and Friends specific open edition pins. I've made my feelings known on Duffy and Friends in the video on Shanghai Disneyland, so I don't have any Duffy and Friends pins from Hong Kong. Again, I wouldn't really have any desire to get any of them from Hong Kong because Duffy and Friends was born in Tokyo Disney Sea, and I feel like they make sense there. But I do understand in some of the Asian parks where there isn't as much attachment to Mickey and Minnie and the Fab Five, that you kind of have Duffy and Friends as an alternative. One of the things that I really love about Hong Kong Disneyland pins are their mystery pins. A lot of the times they will come out with little mystery tins. So there are these really nice metal tins with the pins in them, and typically you'll get 5 pins in a tin. And again, these mystery pins are not like the kind of really cruddy quality that you'll find in the US parks. A lot of these mystery pins also are very shiny. They have a lot of glitter to them. Sometimes they'll come out with pins that are in boxes, or they'll even come out with kind of uniquely shaped containers for the mystery pins. But most of the time you get 5 pins per mystery container. The only thing is, with a lot of those tins, the pins are just in there in clear plastic bags. So it's not quite as, mystery as the US park if they come in the little black blind bags. But they have a lot of really cute designs for their mystery pins. Hong Kong Disneyland also comes out with series of limited edition pins each month. They don't necessarily have a pin flyer that they put out like the US and Paris parks do, but they basically have like pin announcements, kind of like a mini flyer showing all the pins that we'll be releasing that month. They'll of course have limited edition pins coming out for all of the holidays. Those generally will feature the Fab Five characters and or Duffy and Friends on them. They'll usually also come out with limited edition pins celebrating movie anniversaries. And they'll also have limited edition series that they'll do each month throughout the year, kind of like they do in the US parks, but Hong Kong has far fewer LE releases. What's pretty neat about the LE pins from Hong Kong is that they're almost always pretty low edition sizes. I'd say probably an LE 500 is most common for the pins that they release. So they really are some quite nice rare pins. The LE pin releases will work on the day of release. You'll enter the park and you'll get basically a ticket for your number in line. Then you head to the Emporium kind of lined up in your number, and then you can purchase the pins. If it's a really popular character or design, the pin can sell out right away really quickly. But a lot of the times I find quite a number of the LE pins will be available for a good amount of time, even though they are a lower edition size. Now that definitely requires it being, a less desired theme or character. But what that means is if you live in the US or another country, it's a little bit easier to get LE pins from Hong Kong than say LE pins from Paris, which I'll be talking about in the next video. Hong Kong Disneyland also hosts pin trading nights every few months. The recent ones have all been themed to different movies. So there's been like a Zootopia one, a Monsters Inc. one. I think they have Toy Story coming up. So they'll release exclusive limited edition pins for that. And then they'll have, a full open trading for all the pin traders there. They'll also have their big pin trading events. What they just had earlier this year was their pin trading carnival. So that's a little bit more equivalent to the Epcot pin trading event. With that, of course, they'll release a whole slew of different cool limited edition pins. And then sometimes they'll also have special edition hidden Mickeys available at these events. So with Pin Trading Carnival, they'll have more games there that you can play for pins. But there's quite frequently large pin trading events available at Hong Kong. If you're based in the US and haven't yet dabbled into any pins from the international parks, I highly recommend starting off with pins from Hong Kong Disneyland. First, obviously, because they are just amazing quality, and second, because I find it's easiest to get pins from Hong Kong compared to any other international Disney park. Since Hong Kong obviously is quite older than Shanghai Disneyland, there's a pretty nice established pin trading community there, and they're all online on Instagram and Facebook. If you're wondering, well, then how can I go about getting pins from Hong Kong Disneyland? I'm going to link a whole bunch of awesome people on Instagram who offer pickups for Hong Kong Disneyland. Every single person I've had do pin pickups for me from Hong Kong Disneyland has been absolutely awesome. So it's always very easily to readily find somebody who is offering pickups. I find that pickup prices really are quite good. They're generally pretty close to the retail price of the pin, and that also goes for limited edition pins, with a caveat, of course, of the ones that are super, super popular. Another bonus is that shipping from Hong Kong isn't too expensive, so generally I'll end up paying about $5 for shipping, which compared to if you're trying to ship from the US abroad, spending only $5 on shipping really is a pretty good deal. Now you can also find pins from Hong Kong Disneyland from sellers on eBay, but there are two different types of Hong Kong-based sellers. The first are the ones who are actual Hong Kong collectors who have a slew of pins available from Hong Kong Disneyland specifically. Sometimes they'll also have pins from the other Asian parks available. And the second type of seller from Hong Kong are the direct counterfeit sellers. These are the eBay listings that show 50-cent shipping from Hong Kong, and they have just tons of repeated identical listings with the same stock image. Those are all counterfeit pins, and those are pins from all over. So it's a lot of US parks, international parks. Always, always avoid those sellers, which will be marked that they're located in Hong Kong. But if you're paying 50-cent shipping for a pin, you are getting a fake pin. What I now wanted to do was show all of the pins that I have from Hong Kong Disneyland so you can really get an idea of kind of what they look like, the different styles, and then I've also broken them down into kind of the different categories that you'll find for them. So here's a little bit of an overview from all of the pins that I have from Hong Kong Disneyland. Along this left side here are all of the limited edition pins that I have. So they'll of course come out with Ellie's for all the different holidays. Like I talked about, they have their pin trading carnival, that's what those are from. That's from a pin event. They have their pin trading night pins. They'll have movie anniversary pins. One series that they do is every Earth Day they release a pin with Jiminy Cricket on it. Then they have a really cool monthly pin series. But another thing that you might be able to see is that there's a lot of cool different elements on these pins. So that is a big rubberized element. This is actually like a lanyard on it. This one has a little extra dimensional top there. These series all have glow-in-the-dark elements. So not only are they really cool low limited edition pins, most of these are about LE 500. They're really pretty and they have a lot of cool elements. I've got some mystery pins here. So that was from an Easter mystery set. This was from an emoji mystery tin. And these were from a Magical Access exclusive set. Magical Access is what they call their annual pass holders. Up here I have some of the Hidden Mickeys and game pins. So this little Nick and Judy set up here, those are from the pin trading magical moment. So they are very rare and hard to find now because they're available for such a short amount of time and you have to win a game. These Utopia pins are all game prize pins. I believe they are all just consolation prizes, so easier to get because you don't have to win. As you can see, this Judy does have a little hidden Mickey in the top. So although it is a game prize pin, it is a hidden Mickey pin. And what's neat is these game pins come with a matching postcard. And so these guys down here, they are also game prize pins like that Judy above, but they are not technically hidden Mickeys. There's also some open editions from holidays and then just some really cool designs for open editions and just like the most beautiful quality. So some of my absolute favorite pins in my collection is this set of retro Minnie and Mickey camper pins. You can see in this lighting, there's just so much glitter on them. There's so much screen printing detail, little elements like the flag and Minnie's headscarf. More pins that just have glitter and are so shiny and have 3D elements. And really, like, all of the enamel on all of these pins is just so nice and shiny and pretty. I just wish that the other Disney parks could have pins with this nice of quality. I hope you enjoyed this video talking all about pins from Hong Kong Disneyland. Let me know if you already are a Hong Kong Disneyland pin collector, because once you start collecting Hong Kong pins, they are just so pretty that you can't ever stop. And be sure in the coming weeks to stay tuned for episode 3 in this series where I'll be talking about pins and pin trading at Disneyland Paris. But thanks for watching!